Tucker Carlson says RFK Jr. will pull votes from Trump, not Biden. There's no person who's thinking, I'm going to vote for either Joe Biden or Bobby Kennedy. And Tucker is wrong.
Yeah, he's definitely wrong.
He's absolutely wrong on this. I think this was more of a passive statement he made, speaking on a podcast, because it does not seem like he actually looked at the data or had real conversations. I think Ian's a good example, because Ian's talked about how his mom is a big fan of the Kennedys.
Yeah. She loved Bobby.
And she would never vote for Trump.
No, I don't think so.
So this
Maybe
is
if she met him.
This is a very simple piece of math. It's probability. Let's say your mom's probability of voting for Biden is 80% and voting for Kennedy is 20% and voting for Trump is 0%. That's the kind of math where if you have enough of those people, it can only pull from Joe Biden. It can never pull from Trump.
I remember when Robert Kennedy Jr. announced he was going to run for president. Within like 3 days, they slandered him or smeared him with anti-vax on the news. And I called my mother like right away and I was like, hey, watch out for this anti-vax crap they're going to start calling him now that he announced. And she's like, yeah, but I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it. I'm like, dude, 2 years ago, she was saying how much she loves Robert Kennedy Jr. And it's like the news started to get to her right away. So there might be something there where they're tainting people's opinion of the guy.
Yep.
He's gonna pull. He's gonna pull from both of the big parties. I believe 100%.
Yeah, but it's gonna be 65 from Democrats and 30 from Republicans. Yeah. If that, I just gotta say, man, I've not met a single person who said who will say publicly I'm voting for Trump who has now been like, well, I'm gonna vote for RFK instead.
Well, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say there was a poll done in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, maybe a month, and it was asking people, who you're voting for, whatever else. We saw that Christie was intensely unpopular there, but. When they asked about RFK, he did have really high support from Republicans, but none of the Republicans plan to vote for him, and none of them plan to vote for him if their first choice candidate left, right? Sure. It doesn't change the fact they like him. Republicans are excited that he's in the race, but ultimately his support is still among Democrats. And we saw that when he announced his independent bid, it still leaned left in the language.
I believe that if RFK, and this is a wild conspiracy theory that's not going to come true, this is theoretical, but if RFK was to drop entirely and start trying to run as Donald Trump's vice president, I think that he could get that. I believe that.
We talked about that last night too.
RFK Jr. is pro reparations, pro gun control,
eco-fascism.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
mean, he's big. He's big time.
We've talked about Trump RFK in the past, but this was only in the context of the COVID response as a means of helping correct the image of Trump's failures on it. But now RFK's pivoted recently much more heavily, especially with reparations. And at his announcement, he said it's Indigenous Peoples Day. It was Columbus Day, but right. He's jumped off.
Well, he also talked about government-backed bonds to save the housing market. I mean, this guy's just like he's a run-of-the-mill progressive that's good on the healthcare and the deep state. I mean, really, that's
Trump
it.
Might
so
make
it's
him
only
like
Democrats.
Give him a cabinet position. He might be like in charge of the EPA or something, right? If he really wanted to be like, no, I know you guys like him, it's exciting, but I don't see him.
I saw it being floated around Attorney General too.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it's just not a close enough bond. I'm sure there's probably some sort of respect there for, whatever cordial reason, but I don't think that there is a close enough camaraderie between the two of them. And also, I think Trump's going to be really careful about who he picks for his VP because look at what happened with Mike Pence, right? Yeah. I mean, he picked someone who he thought was neutral, and that ultimately ended very badly. Yeah. He's only going to be a 4-year president if he's elected, and that's he needs someone who's really going to back him.
The Fly was a better VP than Mike Pence for sure. So
yeah.
Pence was such a miserable
Did you guys see the poll on Twitter that was Chris Christie or a hoagie sandwich, and the hoagie sandwich beat him like 69%?
I'm hungry.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was.
I'm hungry. I'll take the hoagie.
There was like 30,000 votes on there, and the hoagie beat him like almost 70% of it.
Christie would be a good interview because
Christie is the most.
You might end up seeing him sit across from you, so be careful. Whatever you say it to his face.
He keeps doing this Donald Duck thing.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, dude, it is the cringiest thing because he's so excited when he says it on the debate stage. He's like, Donald Duck. And then everyone's like, you're an idiot.
Yeah. He wants to be Donald Trump so bad. Like, he really does. He wants to be able to insult people like that, and he's just not quick enough.
It's because he's too overweight, man. If he was thin and healthy, he would have a way better chance, and a lot more people would like him.
If he were thin and healthy, he wouldn't be funnier.
If Donald Trump was in a one-on-one debate with Christie, and Christie was like, this guy Donald keeps ducking all these questions, he's Donald Duck. Trump would go, you're fat, and that's it. And everyone would go roaring.
Take care of yourself, Trump.
That's all it would take. That's it. That's all it would take. Absolutely. 100%.
That's all he would say.
Because Trump has no filter at all.
I can hear you breathing in the microphone.
Exactly. Yep. He'd say something like that. He would make that face and go. Lord over here, can hear him breathing, and then everyone just busts out laughing and he's done.
Yep.
Donald Duck is not funny, it's not clever, it's stupid. And Trump would just do the most crass, bottom of the barrel, yeah, and you're fat.
Yeah.
And then everyone would just start roaring with laughter like...
That's all it would take.
I have seen Trump rallies. I have seen that man speak. He's a stand-up comedian.
The shut up silly woman thing is all over the internet still to this day.
The you'd be in jail one from the debate
Silly
with Hillary
woman.
Clinton.
Shut up, silly woman. Yeah, that's all over.
good.
That's all over the internet.
Was
Still
that to Hillary? Did you say that to Hillary?
No,
Who did you say that to?
He was at a
Something
rally and he was
Yeah,
telling a story.
Yeah, it was a rally.
Yeah, if you've not seen a rally, this is what I hear from people. They're like, I wasn't a big Trump fan and I decided to go to his rally and now I'm a Trump fan. Like, because the guy,
He's
you're
hilarious.
going to a comedy routine, man. He's doing what Jon Stewart basically did back in the day. He's up there and he's saying, I'll give you the formula. It's like, you got problem. I know about problem. I'm going to insult the people who make problem. And everyone starts cheering for it.
I kind of like
and he does it well.
watching old Trump videos because his personality, like you see who he was when he was young, you see who he is now. I think it's a lot. You get a better, like more well-rounded idea of who he is. Super cool.
Shane Gillis can literally go up on stage and impersonate Donald Trump verbatim, and the whole crowd dies laughing. And he's just saying what Trump said. That's
Yeah.
it. Exactly. Verbatim. And Shane Gillis is like one of the best stand-up comedians in the world right now.
Yeah.
So
I tell you, like, the key to getting your friends and family to go over the line on, like, I don't know about Trump. They complain about him. Oh, whatever. Just come with me and see what he says. And they're going to leave feeling great.
well, I don't want you to vote for Trump, though. So
Oh, I know. You don't. But I'm saying for people, like, when you actually see the guy, it's the entertainment value that he's making you have a good time.
This is like this is a little bit of an off tangent metaphor, but like the whole mean tweets thing. They're like, instead of a guy with mean tweets, I'd rather have a warmonger.
Right.
It's kind of like on YouTube, we can talk about death and destruction and that, but we can't say the F word. I mean, you can obviously say it, but like, what the F word's like the mean tweets of the internet censorship. Like, yo, bro,
I'm
I
not
was
sure
just
what
about
F word you're talking about. There's a lot of funny ones.
Fanny.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Australians. Anyway, that was,
We say the F word on Break the Cycle all the time. So
I
I
love
mean,
it.
you were saying before we started the show that charisma is one of the deciding factors in.
it's very important. You can't be a presidential candidate without It's a giant popularity
It is
contest.
the
You need
most
wit.
important
Yeah.
thing.
Trump, like, how would
Next
you
to intelligence.
define wit, right? Like, what's like the colloquial?
It's just a quick brain. I mean, it's really
Right.
what it is.
Highly
It's quick
intelligent.
enough. It's quick enough to quip with people. I mean,
and
back
that's
and
the
forth.
thing. You
know?
don't need to be super intelligent and articulate. You need only be quick with it. So, like the point I was making with Christie being like Donald Duck, and then Trump going, "I can hear Fatso over here breathing in the microphone," and it's not the
every
smartest
time.
thing in the world, but it's a verbal
He knows
smackdown.
how and when to say things.
Exactly.
It's timing.
Quick-witted.
It's a timing thing. It's a timing issue.
I think it's intelligence. It requires like at least 16 intelligence.
the thing, the thing about
On a maximum of what?
the thing about
23?
politics.
18.
The thing about
18 is maximum human potential, and then you become superhuman above that. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. I was interrupting you.
clarifying.
I was literally interrupting you. No, so the thing is like in politics, you only have to have like a minor understanding of most issues, and then be charismatic enough to talk about those
Exactly.
issues. Because the vast majority of the American public has no idea what these issues mean anyways at all.
This
Maybe
is
you
the
only need
Aleppo
14
moment.
intelligence with some charisma.
This is the Aleppo moment in a nutshell.
Yeah.
When Gary Johnson was asked about Aleppo, and he goes, "And what is Aleppo?" It's just charisma 1.
Right.
And then all anyone saw was this guy doesn't know anything about about what's going on. He could have said he could have made up nonsense.
Yeah.
He could have said, well, the economic standard with Aleppo is troubling to me, to be completely honest. But we're gonna get a policy in place in Washington. It's gonna solve that problem. They go, wait, what?
Yeah.
But the average person would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they
Because I don't know what Aleppo is either.
idea.
because they
yeah.
just need him to have an answer. The other part about that is
It's a
that
city in Syria, by the way.
it makes him seem
capital.
like he's not
Yeah.
surrounded by people who are saying these are the most important issues, because we all know a president gets an intense number of briefs, and theoretically they're surrounded by experts on each
Well, I'll tell you the biggest problem with libertarians. Literally, this is the biggest problem, is we are all extremely well read at libertarian philosophy. We've read Murray Rothbard and F.A. Hayek and Mises and all these great economists and Austrian economists and philosophers and just everything you could possibly imagine. Henry Hazlitt and blah, 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 blah. And then you want to go out and you want to lecture this to people. And no one cares. Literally, no one cares. They want to hear about how you're going to make their gas prices go down.
Yeah,
And that's what
also-
they care about.
I just wanted to clarify too, because I wasn't sure on that. It's not the capital.
Is it not the capital?
It's the capital of the
I had my own
Damascus is
level
the
moment.
capital.
It's Damascus. That's right.
I thought it was Damascus, but you
Yeah.
said that. I was like, let me double check before I.
You're right.
before
It's
I-
Damascus.
One thing that libertarians, a problem they have too, I think, is that they're not like obsessed with global military. Like you got to be, in order to be a great commander in chief of our military, you got to understand like how are we going to dominate and annihilate everything on Earth so we don't have to.
No, but we're not going to do that.
that's
the thing.
we're
As
not going.
libertarians,
But you have
we're
to know
not gonna-
how
yeah.
so that you don't.
Sure.
So you know how not to.
We'd be a much safer nation if our 2/3 of our military wasn't stationed around the world.
Because
For
if
sure.
if
There's no
the
doubt.
president
the
doesn't
border,
understand it, if the president's not a
border.
military expert, then someone else is going to run the military.
Sure.
The thing is, they just have to know enough about it and have. The reality is, whoever is the president may be really well versed on a couple issues, right? They might have, let's say, 5 that they know backwards, forwards, they know everything about, but realistically, they're going to need a staff
You have
that
a
is
huge
able
staff.
to. That relies on expertise and is able to brief them quickly. And so that's why, when Gary Johnson gets the Aleppo question wrong, it means he did not have anyone around him to say, this is a current issue that you should know about. And that's one of the problems going forward. I mean, this was a criticism people had of Trump when he was in the White House, was that the people he surrounded himself with did not look out for his best interest and maybe were not guiding him in the right direction. It's unrealistic to expect a president to know absolutely everything.
Yeah, but
right?
a lot of that was his fault too, because
I'm not saying it
he
wasn't.
was going to drain the swamp, and then he surrounded himself with the swamp.
I'm not saying it wasn't,
that's
but
Swamp monster.
ultimately, this is a problem that could be true for a libertarian president, it could be true for a Democrat president. It is not actually the person on stage who knows everything. It's the people they're surrounding themselves with.
Yeah, president does have generals, but the commander must know military doctrine, or at least rapidly learn it upon.
But under that, in that logic, we would only want people who had served in the military to be presidents, which could be true in some eras, right? But theoretically, right now, I mean, as far as I know, Joe Biden didn't serve in the military. Maybe he'll tell us something different. Trump went to military boarding school, right? But he didn't actually serve in the military. So theoretically, both of these people have the. What?
That's right.
Yeah, when was the last time we had a military commander, like a ex-military guy or woman guy? become
George
president?
Bush. Was it George Bush?
Was he in the military?
Yeah,
the first,
but
the dad.
You mean HW?
Weren't they both in the military? They were both in the military.
but W wasn't his story that he didn't go to Vietnam or something?
Something like that. But he was in the military.
I mean,
for
was
sure.
it? How far back are we going?
He's in the Air Force, I
Did
think.
Clinton serve in the military?
Not that I know of.
No, Clinton
so
was in the military. Yeah.
we have to work backwards. I mean,
Reagan was a movie star.
Reagan was
John
in
F.
the-
Kennedy.
Kennedy would definitely
Kennedy was
serve
in the
military.
Navy,
That
I
was a
think,
huge deal.
in Vietnam. Was he
Yeah,
in the Navy?
and he received. He wasn't Purple Heart, but he received like some very
was
serious
a
award for
badass.
saving people.
Yeah, literally, he like saved a bunch of dudes off a sinking ship or some crazy story. That would be a great story to
George
pull up
W.
at
Bush
some
served
point.
in the Navy during World War II.
George Bush.
George H.W. Bush served in the Navy.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.